In this video, we're going to talk about why you should do the no contact rule when breaking up. Then we're going to talk about how to actually do it, in the easiest, least painful way possible. After a breakup, maintaining no contact can be a crucial step in the healing process since it gives both couples the time and space they need to sort through their feelings and move on. Going cold turkey can be beneficial for the following reasons. 1. Prevents additional emotional suffering. Maintaining contact with your ex-partner might prolong the healing process and reignite old scars, adding to your emotional suffering. Let's imagine that Jane and Tim, who have been dating for a while, have decided to call it quits. Despite their shared belief that the split is for the best, they continue to struggle with their feelings and find it challenging to communicate without getting into arguments or reopening old wounds. Jane decides to avoid Tim for a while after their split. To avoid contacting him, she deletes his phone number and unfollows him on social media. She also lets her friends know that she doesn't want to be informed of any developments about Tim and requests that they accept her choice. Jane concentrates on herself throughout the first couple weeks of being disconnected. She spends time with her friends and family, picks up a new pastime, and starts counseling to help her process her feelings. Even though it's challenging at first, Jane discovers that cutting off communication helps her prevent additional emotional suffering. She understands that talking to Tim consistently triggers upsetting memories and unresolved emotions, making it more difficult for her to move on. Tim gets in touch with Jane in an effort to patch things up after a few weeks of being inactive. Though Jane feels she needs more time to process her emotions, she chooses to keep her distance for a little while longer. Going no contact in this case allowed Jane to focus her own healing while also preventing her from going through additional emotional suffering. Additionally, it helped her avoid reopening old wounds and shielded her from Tim's emotions or outside pressure to make up before she was ready. 2. A break from communication following a breakup might help you see things clearly and objectively. Rather than viewing the relationship through the rose-colored spectacles of love, you can see it for what it was. Let's imagine that Taylor and Aaron dated for 2 years before breaking up due to their frequent arguments and inability to find a solution to their problems. Aaron decides to avoid Taylor for a bit after the split. Aaron thinks back on their relationship and the causes of their breakup throughout the first several weeks of no communication. Aaron is able to see their relationship for what it truly was, rather than through the rose-colored glasses of love, without the continual communication and disagreements. They start to understand that the relationship was more toxic than they had previously believed as Aaron focuses on them individually. They recall how Taylor would make them feel inferior and insecure, and they recall how they had given up on their own needs and wants in an effort to make the relationship work. Taylor contacts Aaron in an attempt to patch things up after a few weeks of no communication. Aaron chooses to put off communication for a little bit longer, though, as they feel they need more time to acquire perspective and clarity about their relationship. Aaron comes to the realization that they weren't actually happy in the relationship and that it would have been best for them to separate at this point. Going cold turkey helped Aaron to step back from the relationship and recognize it for what it was, as opposed to being swayed by their feelings or pressure from others to make amends. Going without contact in this case gave Aaron the chance to think things through and put their relationship into perspective. Instead of being swayed by their ex-partner's feelings or outside pressure to reunite, it allowed them to consider their own needs and desires. If you're liking this video so far, please let us know by pressing the like button. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe. No communication following a breakup allows you to concentrate on yourself. It's critical to give oneself space and time to heal after a breakup. Going no contact can help you prioritize and concentrate on your own needs. Let's imagine that after 3 years of dating, Paula and Jake decided to call it quits since they had begun to drift apart and pursue separate goals in life. Paula decides to avoid Jake for a while after the split. Paula experiences a range of feelings over the first few weeks of being without communication, including despair, rage, and perplexity. She chooses, however, to put her attention on herself and her own recovery. To help her deal with the split, she spends time with her family and friends, picks up new hobbies, and starts working out frequently. Paula starts to appreciate the advantages of avoiding interaction as she focuses on herself. She understands that speaking with Jake consistently triggers distressing memories and unresolved emotions, making it more difficult for her to go on. Going no contact allows Paula to avoid situations that would make her think of Jake and instead concentrate on her own personal development. After a few weeks of no communication, Jake tries to make things right with Paula. Paula, however, chooses to put off making contact for a little longer since she feels she needs more time to concentrate on herself and her own recovery. Paula begins to feel more self-assured and autonomous at this period. Instead of attempting to fit into Jake's life, she starts to concentrate on her own objectives and aspirations. She was able to prioritize her own needs and wants, take some time for herself, and concentrate on her own personal development by going no contact. In this case, avoiding touch freed Paula to concentrate on her own recovery. It helped her to prioritize her own personal development above being swayed by her emotions or outside pressure to reconcile, avoiding triggers that would make her think of Jake. 4. Avoiding contact after a breakup can speed up the healing process by allowing both couples the time and space they need to get over the split and move on with their lives. Let's imagine that after 4 years of dating, Liz and Mike decided to call it quits because they discovered they no longer shared the same interests and goals. Liz decides to avoid Mike for a while after their breakup. Liz has a lot of suffering and anguish during the first several weeks of being cut off. She misses Mike and is having a hard time getting used to being single once more. But she makes the decision to put her own recovery first and begins to prioritize self-care. To cope with the breakup, she spends time with her family and friends, begins therapy, and engages in mindfulness and meditation practices. Liz starts to appreciate the advantages of maintaining no touch as she concentrates on her own recovery. She understands that speaking with Mike consistently triggers distressing memories and unresolved emotions, making it more difficult for her to move on. Liz is able to carve out time for herself and pay attention to her wants and feelings by going no contact. After a few weeks of no communication, Mike tries to make amends with Liz. Liz chooses to maintain her distance from the other person for a little while longer, though, as she believes that she needs more time to heal. Liz begins to feel more anchored and content at this time. She starts to get past the past and acknowledge the breakup of the relationship. Going cold turkey gave her the freedom to prioritize her own healing without being swayed by Mike's feelings or outside pressure to make amends. In this case, Liz was able to speed up the healing process by avoiding contact. Instead of being influenced by the feelings of her ex-partner or outside pressure to reunite, it gave her the freedom to make space for herself and concentrate on her own needs and emotions. Always keep in mind that choosing to avoid communication after a breakup is a personal choice, and what works for one person may not work for another. It's crucial to follow your instincts and put your personal welfare first. The steps to cutting off contact after a breakup are as follows. Although it can be difficult, moving on and healing frequently require this step. Let's begin. 1. Remove their contact details. To avoid contacting them, delete their contact information from your contacts list, including phone number, email, and social media accounts. 2. Block them on social media. By doing this, you can avoid the impulse to follow them or inquire about their whereabouts. 3. Stay away from places where you might run into them. If you know they frequent a particular location, try to wait until you feel more resilient before going there. 4. Keep yourself active by working, engaging in hobbies, and spending time with friends and family. You may move on and concentrate on yourself thanks to this. 5. Ask for help. If you need to talk to someone, ask a friend or member of your family for help. To assist you in working through your feelings, you can also think about visiting a therapist. 6. Remain upbeat. Think on the opportunities that lay ahead of you in the future. Keep in mind that time heals all wounds and that you deserve to be happy and loved. To properly heal and move on after a breakup, keep in mind that maintaining no contact is a process. During this time, be kind to yourself and look out for your needs. I hope you enjoyed this video. You're awesome.